All right, I'm here with Brady Morningstar, former KU basketball player, played for Bill Self. Get a couple thoughts about how Bill Self was as a coach and the '08 team. Uh, Brady, could you kind of give me just kind of an overall view of how Bill treated his players and what it was like just to kind of play for him?
For sure, he's definitely a people's person. Off the court, man, he treats you just like he would a family member or son, with tons of respect and helps you with anything you need. You can go to him and talk to about anything. He understands the real world and situations go down and you get stuck in certain situations and you need help and you can go to him and talk to him like you could a parent. On the court, it's all business. He can rip into you if you're doing something he doesn't like and you're doing something wrong on the court. Uh, some people get off to that and they play harder and they like that, and some people shy away from getting yelled at and all that. But he doesn't care who you are, how many minutes you're playing, how many points you're scoring. He'll still pick a day, maybe just to mess with you and see how you react, to see what type of player you are that day. Or if you're having a good day, he'll support you and give you credit and tell you you're doing a hell of a job and all that. But Sharon's probably one of the best players. He's coached at Kansas, and numerous days he would just rip Sharon and break him down to the bottom he could be, and then build him back up and tell him he's doing a good job. So that's how he coaches, and I think it's worked pretty well for him.
Yeah. So when you were at KU, did you win the conference title every year, all four?
Yeah. I redshirted 1 year, so I was there 5 years. But yeah, we won every regular season conference title.
Cool. All right, so kind of jumping ahead to the '08 team, what was it like to be a part of that run in the tournament? And you sophomore that year?
Yeah,
So,
yep.
yeah.
It was special. The NCAA tournament is just a crazy deal. A lot of teams who are supposed to win don't. A lot of teams who aren't supposed to win do. Whether you see seeding as a big deal, I think it's just you take it one game at a time, and the better team will come out on top. And that year we had some pretty tough games. I know Davidson and Steph Curry, when he was on his roll, was a pretty tough game, and we got by that, and I think that helped us with our Final Four games, and just an unbelievable game against North Carolina. Beat them pretty handily. I think we're ready for that, and then this Memphis game. I'm sure a lot of people thought, we got to the championship game. We had a good season. When there was 2 minutes left, we were down 9, and damn, we had it close. And some thoughts like that went through my head. But you just never know until the last buzzer goes off. And it showed. Mario had a big time shot, and we took care of him in overtime. But it was just crazy being on the bench for that and experiencing sometimes a once in a lifetime deal.
Yeah, I know being there, for me, it was awesome. That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
So that was awesome. But so for the conference title, is that every year? I know kind of like KU fans are like, oh, we're just going to win the conference title. Like,
Sure.
How big a deal is that to you guys?
You go into conference, regular season conference, one to win, because that's how you collect rings. You collect rings 2 ways at Kansas. You win the regular conference season championship, you make it to the Final Four, and you win the championship. So 2 rings will be from Kansas, and you make it to the Final Four, the NCAA gives you a ring. So you want to collect rings, and the Big 12 has been top to bottom one of the best conferences a lot of the years that we've won it. There's a lot of good teams always, and the key to win conference is to win all your games at home, and then you got to win a lot on the road. You got to be able to win on the road when you want to win conference. It's tough, but we found a way to do it every single year. Some years earlier in the year, you think, dang, I don't think we're going to do it this year. Like, we've lost some ones we shouldn't have lost, and we've got some tough games coming up, but it always finds a way to work out. I think it's pretty remarkable that, if we win one more game this year, we'll at least clinch it, and if we win 2, it'll be all right for 12 straight.
That's crazy.
That's pretty good. So yeah, I think it's a pretty remarkable run, and I think it all goes towards Coach Self and his coaching staff and how he prepares players and recruits the players he wants and gets them to do the right things and play the right way.
What do you think is the biggest thing Coach Self does to kind of implement that every year?
He does not look forward to the next game. Regardless of who we're playing, he will stay focused on that game entirely until the end of that game is over, that buzzer's going, and then you go on to the next day. So I think he prepares his team with scout information and everything fully without looking ahead to anything else to get that game taken care of because each one's important. You lose one, it could be, it could be the end of something. So
yeah. So Bill in practice, is he? How are practices ran? I guess is kind of the question.
Pretty much on a schedule. Everything we do is timed. Sometimes we'll go overtime. Sometimes we'll do it quicker if we're doing it better. But for the most part, the beginnings, the middles, and the ends are very similar day to day, depending on what he wants to work on. But we'll always play up and down a little bit. Always do some half court stuff. Some rebound defense. It's pretty. If you get a chance to go watch practice, it's pretty intense. Certain days, some days,
Yeah, I guess that's what I was going to ask.
The intensity switches depending on how long you play, what part of the time of the season it is, how many games you have coming up, and stuff like that. So it all depends. But I think he has a pretty good routine, and if I ever ended up coaching, I'd probably take a lot of the stuff he does in practice and use it towards my advantage.
Okay. And then looking back on your 5 years at KU, what's kind of that one moment that sticks out to you as like your favorite, the best memory you have?
I mean, obviously winning the championship is huge. I wasn't a big part of it. I didn't play any minutes and stuff. So selfishly, I'd say my favorite part was my redshirt sophomore year. The year after we won the national championship, we had all these guys leave. We weren't expected to be really, really good at all. And we ended up winning the Big 12 regular season against Texas, a really good Texas team at home in a tough game. They had like A.J. Abrams, Damian James, those type of guys. And no one really expected us to continue the streak of winning the Big 12 because we were so young and experienced, except for Sharon and a little bit Cole. We had the twins, Tyshawn and those guys, but we came out and played a hell of a season in the Big 12 and continued that streak. And I think that was, for being as young as we were and inexperienced, to take control of that season and win that Big 12 like we did. I think it was probably one of the better parts of my career.
And then to kind of wrap things up, what's one like Bill Self moment where like either like a connection that happened on something or just kind of one thing that you like when you remember when you think of Bill that you think of this?
Man, when I think of Bill, I just think about every time he puts his hand over his mouth like this, he's telling someone that he doesn't love him to death. Let's just keep it like that. He's telling someone to do a little bit better, play a little bit harder, to say it in a nice way. I think it's funny because people see it on TV and he does it all the time.
Yeah.
He'll just put his hand over his ear like that. And I just know the connection because he had done that to me plenty times and to everyone else plenty times. So there's only a few guys that get that. And obviously you have to play for him. But when you see him doing that, you probably know he's mother effing you and it's time to step it up and do something better.
Yeah. Nice. All right, so kind of wraps up the interview with Brady. Thank you, Brady, for being here.
Appreciate you for having me.
Yeah. Awesome.